A lot of you might have had the same reaction that my wife did when this whole kind of Greenland thing kind of came up. Like, Greenland? Why? What in the world? Where did this? It came out of left field. Why is he even talking about this? Well, it actually makes some interesting sense when you look at it critically. And Greenland is more than just ice, it's leverage. And we've forgotten about this crucial landmass for hundreds of years. And in today's video, I'm going to make a case using verified, fact-based, evidentiary, data-driven examples and evidence to support an argument as to why the United States should acquire Greenland. And I'm also going to rebut the top claims as to why this is an awful idea and why Trump, they're calling him loony. And you see France and Germany, Denmark, Norway, they're all up in arms, sending troops to Greenland. I'm going to try to make sense of the chaos. And hopefully by the end of this video, you may have some interesting ways of looking at this in a different light. That's my only hope. And as always, I share all my notes in full transparency. I do my own due diligence, qualitative and quantitative research. If you want a copy of my notes for free, I'll let you know how to do that in just a second. So without further ado, here is Professor Nez, me, yours truly, stating the case for why we should acquire Greenland. Number one, Arctic reality, okay? Geography is power. Greenland sits at the geographic crossroads of North America, Europe, and the Arctic. Melting sea ice is transforming the Arctic Circle into an active economic and military corridor. Control of territory matters more, not less, in an era of renewed great power competition. And a concrete example to this, Arctic shipping routes can reduce Asia-Europe transit times by 30 to 40%, reshaping global trade flows. Now think about that, 30 to 40%. That is not a pittance. That is massively significant. And the first claim against this is, you're hearing it from all over, this is imperialism. No. This is not imperialism. This is a transaction. Imperialism is conquest. This would be a negotiated legal acquisition. The U.S. has done this before, by the way, peacefully and transparently. No invasion, no coercion, no fantasy. And by the way, if buying land is imperialism, then the Louisiana Purchase was too, when Thomas Jefferson purchased that and really gave the United States that continental presence and power. Number two, national security. The northern flank is exposed. The shortest flight path for intercontinental missiles between Eurasia and North America runs over, you guessed it, Greenland. The U.S. already operates Thule Space Base. I didn't know this, by the way, until I did some research, which is a cornerstone of missile warning and space tracking systems. Formal acquisition would eliminate legal ambiguity and ensure permanent strategic control. Early warning radar in Greenland is essential for detecting launches from Russia's Arctic submarine fleet. And this will make a lot more sense as we continue, because I've got really substantive examples of what our global adversaries, particularly China and Russia, are trying to do with their geopolitical positioning. And I've said this in other videos. This is the reason why I'm not the president and you are neither, because we don't understand this sort of global chess that needs to take place. And this is a long-standing tradition amongst some of the greatest leaders our country has ever had. One that comes to mind that's really prominent is Reagan and Theodore Roosevelt, where the United States has really laid claim to the Western Hemisphere. When the United States takes control and maintains and sustains that control, the whole world and the whole region is at peace, which is why I make the case that a free Iran would literally, quite literally, maybe even as soon as a few weeks, stabilize the entire Middle East, which is the most volatile region on planet Earth. But I'm not going to go there. I digress. Claim number two is that Greenlanders would never agree to something like this. Well, that's not true. Greenland already governs itself and relies heavily on Danish subsidies. Any deal would include autonomy, investment, and security guarantees. People don't reject prosperity, they reject being ignored. And a counterstrike is the real threat to Greenlandic independence isn't America, it's economic dependency on China. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a fact. Okay, number 3. Great power competition. If the U.S. doesn't act, others will. China, this is where I'm getting to the China and Russia thing. China has openly declared itself a, quote, near Arctic state, end quote, and has attempted to invest, I bet you didn't know this, in Greenlandic airports, ports, and mining. Yep, they did. Not only are they buying American farmland, not only are they meeting with Maduro before we snatched his ass, not only are they making deals with China, Canada, but China has openly said these things. This is all on the record. You can check for yourself. You can verify everything I'm saying. And they have invested in Greenlandic airports. Russia is rapidly militarizing the Arctic with new bases, icebreakers, and missile systems. Acquisition blocks this adversarial foothold permanently rather than reacting in piecemeal. Remember Carter. Remember every Democrat president that showed weakness and other countries took full advantage of us, the United States of America. That all stops now. A concrete example to this is China attempted to finance these Greenlandic airports in 2018, a project only halted after the U.S. intervened. Who was president in 2018? You guessed it. Quite frankly, one of the best, President Trump. Now, one of the counterclaims is we already have a base there, so why do we need to buy? Because bases can be renegotiated, restricted, or revoked. Ownership removes political risk permanently. Strategic assets should not depend on lease agreements, which is why you hear Trump say you care more if you own it rather than renting it. So another concrete kind of follow-up to this is the U.S. already operates dual space base because Greenland is indispensable. This is just a fact. I'm only sharing the facts, folks, okay? Number 4, critical minerals. Critical minerals supply chain independence. Okay, so this is really important as well. Greenland holds large deposits of rare earth elements, uranium, zinc, and graphite. These materials are essential for semiconductors, EV batteries, defense systems, and renewable energy. So this beautiful, large landmass that sits in the middle, separating Europe and the United States, contains not close to, but the largest. This is really important deposit of rare earth elements. So the U.S. currently relies heavily on foreign and often hostile suppliers. Here's a real interesting fact. Over 70% of global rare earth processing is currently dominated by who else other than China? Yeah, that's really, really big. Claim number 5, this is too expensive. It's too compared to what? The cost would be tiny compared to our annual defense spending, much cheaper than countering Chinese or Russian entrenchment later. History shows early action is always cheaper than reaction. So the counterstrike is the most expensive strategy is actually pretending that this amazing piece of real estate, this geography, doesn't matter. So that claim is completely and easily refuted. Number 5, economic upside, long-term strategic investment. Acquisition costs would be small compared to annual U.S. defense spending, which I just mentioned. Infrastructure development would create American jobs in energy, logistics, defense, and science. Arctic shipping, mineral extraction, and research hubs offer durable economic returns. So this isn't some Nobel Peace Prize BS that the left and Macron and all these ridiculous leaders who are weak, feeble, freeloading cockroaches. We have been subsidizing them for centuries, and this is how they repay us. Say, oh, he's just mad. He's making this all about that's just a ridiculous talking point. The fact of the matter is there are multiple, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, myriad of geopolitical, economic, viable benefits to us, the United States of America, and the world. Concrete example, the Louisiana Purchase was very controversial and expensive at the time, yet became the foundation of U.S. continental power. Now, one of the claims here is that China isn't a real threat there. Well, that's flat out wrong, okay? China openly calls itself a near Arctic state. They've attempted infrastructure and mining investments in Greenland. Infrastructure is how influence becomes leverage. China does not invest for charity. These guys are ruthless, y'all. I mean, they're harboring ayatollahs. These are the same Islamic terrorists who are massacring their own people. They don't invest for charity. They invest for control. The world is run by ruthless individuals, which is why I'm so mad at the GOP, because the GOP, I'm just going to say it, is chock full of pussies. And there's only two reasons why they won't nuke the filibuster. And that is, A, they really are spineless, feckless losers who were born to lose, or B, they're complicit in the deep state establishment. I really want to think it's one, but I fear it might be number two. I digress. Number 6, environmental stewardship, better than neglect or exploitation. The U.S. governance would bring stronger environmental standards than foreign state-backed extractive models. Climate research, ice monitoring, and Arctic ecology protection would expand dramatically. Responsible development beats unregulated exploitation by outside powers. The U.S. already leads global climate monitoring through NOAA and NASA. Capacity, Greenland lacks independently. Number 7, democratic stability and local benefit. Acquisition could be structured with guaranteed local autonomy, investment in healthcare, education, and infrastructure, citizenship options, and self-governance protections. Greenlanders will gain long-term security and prosperity rather than dependency on external investors. And a good example of this is U.S. territories historically receive higher per capita infrastructure and healthcare funding than comparable remote regions worldwide. I don't know what in the world would be a good reason not to have the U.S. invest in your country. We are the most gregarious, the most giving, the most selfless nation on planet Earth. We give to over almost 200 countries worldwide. We give aid. We do everything in our power. We have been the force of good over evil for centuries. Since our inception, our very founding is the bedrock emblematic example of that, overcoming the evil of the occupying British soldiers, taxation without representation. So the whole world looks to the U.S. We are the lighthouse for the rest of the world. We are the example, the model of freedom, liberty, pursuit of happiness, spirit, righteousness, good. And so I don't understand why this wouldn't be something that every country wouldn't want. Number 7, claim number 7 is Russia's the bigger problem. Yeah, actually, that's good. That's true. Russia is rapidly militarizing the Arctic. Missile paths between Eurasia and North America pass over Greenland. The Arctic is the shortest, fastest route for conflict. And the counterstrike is ignoring Greenland is how you lose the Arctic without firing a shot. Number 8, strategic clarity beats strategic drift. The Arctic is no longer a future issue. It is a current battleground. Waiting invites rivals to shape the region's rules, infrastructure, and alliances. Acquisition provides certainty, stability, and deterrence for decades. The bottom line, this is not about imperial nostalgia. It's about security, resources, trade, and geopolitical reality. In a world where geography is once again destiny, Greenland is just too important to leave vulnerable. I've got 2 more claims, and then I'm going to just shut the door with a final close. And that is this. Climate change makes this unnecessary. No. It makes it actually urgent. Melting ice opens shipping routes and resource access. This increases competition, not cooperation. Who governs emerging trade routes matters. This is important. We have always held dominion over most of this, and we have collaborated in the most selfless, cooperative, accommodating fashion imaginable. And the counterstrike to this is climate change doesn't remove borders. It makes them more vulnerable. Claim number 9. This sounds like, you hear this all the time. This sounds like fear-mongering. You're fear-mongering. This is demagoguery. No. It's risk management. We have a real leader in charge as our commander-in-chief, somebody who actually earned their living through working in free enterprise and free markets, running businesses, not like Ilhan, mentally Ilhan, and Ghetto Crockett, who've earned their millions through fraud. They have had public government salaries their entire life. They've never had a real job in their entire life. How is mentally Ilhan Omar, you tell me, worth over $30 million? It's a mathematical impossibility. So we have a real leader, okay? Every major U.S. strategic mistake came from underestimating rivals. That's just a fact. You can look it up throughout history. This isn't paranoia. This is what I try to teach my kids, what I always talk about when I was teaching at the university. Pattern recognition. Pattern recognition usually is the best and closest way to come at the truth in any aspect of your life, both professionally, personally, and otherwise. Pattern recognition is a fantastic trait, and we should encourage and really implore that in our students' curriculum and our learning institutions more than almost anything. Serious nations plan decades ahead. Ignoring these warning signs isn't restraint. It's negligence. That's just a fact. And then final close, I just want to shut the door on this. The left and all these ridiculous, feckless, spineless, brainless, gutless people who call themselves leaders and call themselves congressional this and that, they think this is about ego. They think this is about the Nobel Peace Prize. This isn't about ego. This is about empire. The United States needs to be, as I said, it's the lighthouse of the world, needs to be number one. This is about missiles, minerals, trade routes, and deterrence. So Greenland isn't optional. It's strategic. We've got real adversaries. We got real geopolitical enemies. And the European Union, France, Germany, Norway, Denmark, UK, Keir Starmer making some bold claims. And now Canada, who's really, I know there's a lot of Canadians watch this who don't agree with your communist socialist Carney, but Carney is really barking up the wrong tree, making deals with China, defaming the United States in every aspect, criticizing, actually having the audacity to say, Carney actually said this, we're prepared to send troops to Greenland. This guy is asking for a real, you are cruising. As my old PE coach used to say, you're cruising for a bruising, Nez. Hey, Carney, you're cruising for a bruising. As always, I really can't wait to get your thoughts on all of this. There's a whole lot more I could do, but just for the sake of brevity, I wanted to keep it as succinct and compressed as I can while not deviating from the facts and the research. If you want a copy of everything I talked about, including the claims and the rebuttals, I'll leave a link. It's a free download. I give it away for free always, and I welcome anybody to refute this. Leave a comment. I try to read as many comments as I can. Let me know what you think. If you do personal ad hominem attacks, it goes straight to spam. Don't leave links. Go straight to spam. I want conscientious, intelligent, insightful debate and discourse. That's what my comments are all about. And I love reading your comments. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. A free link is in the pinned comment and in the description to download all my notes for free. Make sure you check that out. Please tap that thumbs up if you love America. Don't forget to check out these videos coming up on the screen right here, just in case you missed them. Tap my face right here to subscribe and follow. It doesn't cost you a thing. And as always, may God bless you, and may God bless the USA and all who defend her. I'll see you soon.